Pastor Ed here with Daily Devotions for Wednesday, September the 17th, 2025. We started this week talking about life keys, the keys to life, the book that I'll be using for this sermon series that began this past Sunday. Someone once said, "The tragedy of life is not that it ends so soon, but that we wait so long to begin it." The idea, I think that's the idea behind Life Keys, to help us begin our lives, the lives that God created us to be, the lives that God gifted us and called us to experience. A fellow by the name of Chuck Sly once wrote, when we lived in Wiesbaden in Germany, some missionary friends bought a German toaster. When they got home, they plugged it in, placed some bread in it, and then waited for the toast to pop up a few minutes later. Well, the toast never did pop up from it because, well, it didn't work. It just sat there all nice and shiny. Oh, it was real pretty, all right, matching the decor of their kitchen perfectly. It had that brand new look about it, but it wouldn't toast bread. Well, they packaged it back up to take it back, but since they couldn't find their receipt, the German store wouldn't exchange it. So they were stuck with it. So they brought it back home and tried to figure out what they could do with it. Now, let me ask you a question, he says. What good is a toaster that doesn't toast? Absolutely nothing. It's too big for a paperweight, too ugly for a doorstop. It would rust if you put it out as a lawn ornament. So they ended up throwing it in the trash and buying a new one that did work. It was useless because it didn't fulfill the purpose for which it was made. The same is true of the Christian, he says, who doesn't fulfill the purpose for which he or she was made. You see, everything has a purpose, and it's of little or no value if it's not fulfilling that purpose. Now, if we start living in a conscious and intentional way for the purpose for which God created and saved us, it would revolutionize our Christian lives. Indeed, I would argue that it would revolutionize the world. And so the life key number one that we're talking about this week is that God has an important part for you, yes, you, to play. And they explain that Life Keys grew out of their efforts, the three authors, to help members of their respective churches find meaning and purpose through discovering and affirming, A, what they do best, what they're calling life gifts that we'll be talking about this coming Sunday, and spiritual gifts the week after that, the places or atmospheres that give them the most energy, and there we'll be talking about personality type and values, and the purposes that God placed in their hearts, the passions. These truths about who you are and why you're here and what you do best can help you find personal pathways, they say, to fulfilling work, activities, and opportunities for service. They even have a discovery workbook that allows people to dig into these concepts and figure out for themselves. But basically, it's based on a couple of things, three things. They believe that, along with the rest of us, I'm sure, that each human being was created in the image of God, Genesis 1, verses 26 to 27. And so they hope that through the Life Keys process, everyone who pursues it or follows it will come to appreciate the significance of the fact that somewhere inside you is the image of God, particularly if you view yourself or your gifts and talents as insignificant, which many people do. And as I talked about in my sermon this past Sunday about the young woman in my congregation years ago by the name of Tonda, who didn't think she had a gift when in fact she really did. Secondly, that you were created with a unique and specially chosen blend of gifts, Psalm 139, 13 through 16, which was one of our readings on Sunday. In other words, God gave you everything you need, the truly right gifts chosen just for you. If you struggle to understand how gifts blend or how they might be used, this Life Keys process might help you discover the purposes or settings that will clarify the merit of your gifts. And finally, God has in mind specific good works for you to accomplish. Ephesians 2, verse 10, one of the other readings as well from this past Sunday. In other words, if you've yet to be part of the ventures that God has in mind for you, a rich experience awaits you. However, you need to discover that niche that God promises us. Each of us is there. Bruce Emmert once said, most people act as if they were simply dropped down in creation and have to entertain themselves until they die. But we Christians believe that we were sent into the world by God just as Jesus was. In other words, each of us has a mission in life. Jesus prayed to his Father for his followers, saying, as you sent me into the world, I have sent them into the world. We seldom fully realize that we are indeed sent to fulfill God-given tasks, and moreover, that God has equipped us and given us the gifts, the abilities, the talents to fulfill those tasks for the journey. So, hopefully that gives you some food for thought. We'll continue this tomorrow. Hope you have a great day today. Till tomorrow, take care. Bye.